Welcome back, everybody, to the podcast of Unfiltered Out There. This is your host, Matthew Sandifer. Welcome back. It's been a while, everyone, but I appreciate everyone's patience and sorry for being a loser and not putting any content out for a while, but I'm glad to have everyone back. Thank you so much for everyone who stayed subscribed. Please go ahead and like and subscribe to this video. Got a lot of cool stuff we're working on. This past year, didn't podcast as much. Was working on moving and selling a house, and a lot of things took place. But we're back. I got 2 books out now, both on Amazon. One's about basically exercise for the normal guy, or gal, or whatever. It's Shedding Pounds and Pumping Irons by Matthew Sandifer. Basically, it's a guide for, if you want to get back into the gym or get into the gym, you've never really gone to the gym or you don't know much about it. There's hundreds of YouTube videos and things like that, and I'm not straying you away from them, but it's a book for just anybody to grab. And there's lots of workout material in there for just people to do at home and to get into going to the gym, how to eat healthy, how to just start, and it's a good book. I wrote it because years of being a trainer and wrestling and doing different martial arts and things, I picked these things up along the way. And I'm not a professional by any means, but these are things that are truths to me, and I hope they can help you all out. So if you don't mind, swing by Amazon and buy that book. I would greatly appreciate it. And my other book is Forged to Rise to Great Leadership. Basically, it's a book about leadership. I wrote it from being in a leadership role in multiple jobs and doing lots of different things, whether it be growing up on a farm, whether it be working at the railroad, whether it be lots of different things I've done in life. And it's a good book. It's a lot of truths that I've used in life, a lot of wisdom and philosophy that I've learned the hard way. And hopefully if you're aspiring to become a boss, a CEO, I'm not a CEO, but these are things that I'm aspiring to be. But this is a book that has gotten me pretty far in life. And these are truths that I've used to get me to where I'm at today. And so, if you'd like to pick that book up as well, it's on Amazon. It's called Forge, Rise to Leadership. I would greatly appreciate it. But so we've got some new stuff coming out with the podcast. Basically, I'm going to continue doing the interviews and doing podcasts like I did before, but we're also rebranding and doing some new things. I'm going to be taking the podcast to the streets. No, it's not going to be big political stuff. There's a lot of people out there that do that. That's not what this is. This is entirely different, but it is a similar setup as what you may have seen on YouTube before. But we're bringing something different to the table. It's $1 wisdom. I'm going to pay everyone $1 to sit down and talk with me. And it's going to be fun. We're going to talk about topics, whether I'm at universities, whether I'm at metropolitan areas, at a mall, who knows, wherever I'm not getting kicked out of. So that's coming up soon. So that's going to be Street Talks, and we're going to have that popping off here soon. And if you would like to get on the show, if you'd like to sit down and talk about your cool profession or, what you've learned in university, or whether you're from another country and you have a cool perspective, I'd love to have you on and talk about it. Or maybe you have some, religion that you study, or maybe you're a geologist or you're big in aliens, all that is interesting. And I'd love to just learn from the mind of everyone out there, AKA unfiltered and out there. Unfiltered meaning we're not swearing up a storm, but I'm not going to filter out the content. It's going to be raw content from me to you. And I want the truth, of whatever it is we're talking about, the laughs, sometimes maybe the tears, and the real stories. And I think that's unique. And so we're going to have everything up on Spotify, YouTube, and I'm setting up a Patreon as well too. So be looking out for that. We're doing some street talks here within the next month, and we'll be putting those out on YouTube. So I'm looking forward to that. Just kind of getting back into doing some podcasting. I'm looking forward to it. I really enjoy, talking and learning from people. Still doing stand-up comedy. Haven't done it in a little while, but I'm getting back into doing it. And I guess we're going to use this podcast just kind of talk about a few random things that have gone in my mind. It's fun, whenever you look at life and hard things happen sometimes, and you realize that, it's like any challenge in life. It's a mountain, you're like, dang it, I have to climb up this mountain. I wasn't looking forward to that right now. That I wasn't planning on a financial hardship or this or a divorce or a breakup, whatever it may be. But guess what? It happens. And, I don't think searching for failure is the key. But when failure comes, you should definitely learn from it. But once you get to the top of the mountain, it's a breeze going down it. But remember, on the other side of every mountain is normally another mountain. So I'm not telling you to just look at life and be like, crap, there's nothing but hardships. But no, the more you have that mindset, that resilience built up, you're going to be good to go. Slowly but surely the valley will become less steep, and you will just, you'll become more strong and resilient in when things bad happen in life, and you're just going to be able to take it and keep moving on and be like the duck and let the water roll off your back. I was thinking the other day too, there's certain things that only exist in certain parts of the world and the country that I live in, America, or things of that nature. And, people who only exist in the South, I was thinking about this the other day because I'm from the South. You can go to a gas station in the South, right? And you're just there, getting your Mountain Dew or whatever it is, your salt and vinegar chips, and you're up there checking out. And then all of a sudden the cashier's a philosopher, and you're like, all right, it's 2 a.m. All right, cool. And she's over here like, if God was real, why is it he created like a platypus? I don't understand, like this creature. And I'm like, I don't know, but, all right, let's talk about it, and then she's like, but the Darwin theory, and then I'm like, oh wow, this is gonna get deep if we're talking about evolution. So I'm like thinking of a way, how do I dig out of this situation, But that's like something I've encountered in the South, that deep conversation that you have with the random cashier at a gas station, the local 7-Eleven, and it's unique. Or say you're at a barbecue or you're eating at a barbecue restaurant. There's always that cook who's like the grill master, but he's also the biggest into conspiracies. He knows about, he'll be sitting there flipping his brisket, and he's like, I was up on a deer stand and I was sitting up there, and it was a good hunt. It was cold that morning. My coffee was getting cold. I had one locked and loaded. You know what I mean? I was ready for that monster to come out, and I was starting to doze off. And I looked up ahead of me right before the sun started to light up, the hollow right there in the trees. And I saw this big, hairy thing crossing. And I'm like, oh, yeah? He's like, and I swear, man, he's like, I shook my eyes out. I sipped my cold coffee and I looked. He's like, it's damn Bigfoot. And I'm like, really? And it's so cool because these guys have some of the craziest stories. They're some of the best storytellers. If you're ever in the South, swing by a local barbecue stop and just like talk to them and see what they got to say. It's awesome. It's unique. I love that about the South, and it's awesome. And I think about a lot of things. Whenever things cross my mind, my ADD kicks in. My mind's a million miles a minute, and I'm thinking like, what was life like before phones? Because I remember life before phones. I was still a young adult, and I was remembering life before that, and it's so crazy how far things have gone. I remember not before phones. I'm not that old, but like before like the cell phone. I remember when cell phones were like, you own a cell phone? Like you're rich. It was the Nokia or whatever it was, I remember my grandfather had a bag phone in his work truck, and he worked for the power company, and I was like, this is the coolest thing, Nowadays you just get a work phone, and it's so different because the way we had to communicate, not only were people, maybe they weren't writing letters as much, maybe they were just driving over to see you. They would call you and be like, hey, look, let's grab some lunch. There was no texting going involved. There was no, it's people get so caught in texting, and I do it too. I mean, hey, you can't not text and it be 2025, but we've adapted. We've evolved as people. But I'll often think, technology has evolved so much. I mean, you look at the things Elon Musk is doing, outside of politics or anything like that. I mean, the dude's smart. Supposedly unveiling a freaking levitating car. And I'm like, I think he'll be the first to do it, and I think he'll be the first to put boots on Mars, and hats off to that. When it comes to political things, like, hey, to each his own, however you want to view that. But when it comes to like his exploration, when it comes to the universe and like just technology and growth and science and just, mechanics, I mean, the dude's just killing it. And I think technology has exploded so much, but how far along have we come as people? I think we've just adapted to the technology, and the technology kind of overpowers us a lot of days. And I think back to life before phones, and I'm like, you know, it's hard to remember that sometimes. You know, you'd have pickup football games or baseball games, you were just seeing people more often. You see people nowadays and they're just awkward. Everyone's on their phone and things like that. And it's like, it's weird because you can't break it out of people. It's not like they're wrong for doing it because it's just the world in which we live in, but it's just so tough to see, because I don't want that to be me. Especially when I have kids, I don't want to be on my phone the whole time. I want to be present, and that's the thing with having a phone. It's tough to be present. And it's funny. So I think of that often, as well as being in the South and interactions with people, podcasting, talking to people. That's what I like to do so much is you get to talk with, people, learn their story, figure out why they do what they do, understand their mission. And that's the mission behind what we're doing here. And I'm excited to unveil the Street Talks coming real soon. I got a few guys helping me out with doing some video editing and things like that. So please stay tuned. Make sure to like and subscribe. Sorry, it's been a while since we've uploaded a video. Wanted to make this video kind of to get some stuff out there and let y'all know that more content will be on the way soon. Make sure to check us out on Instagram, and we'll have a Patreon, and our Spotify is up and running. Thank you all for all your love and support. And yeah, remember, if you want to read a book, I got 2 great books on Amazon, Shedding Pounds, Pumping Iron, and Forge, Rise to Great Leadership. But yeah, until next time, it's been Unfiltered and Out There. I appreciate y'all. Have a blessed day.